Tuesday, it's 9 o'clock, and we have gone live. How's it going?
Hey guys.
So we're pinning the comment, and the comment is the art of communication, and then we're looking at, is honesty the best policy? And we've kind of taken a bit of a twist, because now we're looking at, is honesty the best policy with regards to your in-laws? Because there's a whole lot. There's a whole lot that just needs to go into the in-laws. So, yeah, definitely let us know. Give us your thoughts. Give us your opinions. Hi. Let us know your thoughts and how you see it, because we need to have this conversation. A lot of people are dealing with how they interact with their in-laws, how they, like, imagine you've gone through lockdown, the two of you been locked in together. Some people, they run to their in-laws or they run to their parents, and then it just adds another layer of strain and pressure on the relationship. So we're going to be talking about all things in-laws, marriage, how much you can say, when to say and when not to say, and just everything else from there, really. So definitely walk with us, guys. Definitely share with us, talk with us, come back to us, let us know your thoughts, let us know what your opinions are on them, because it's a lot of things. So guys, Ulrich is just checking that we are live on the other social medias, so whether that's Facebook, or we know that we're live on YouTube. Sorry, we know that we're live on Instagram, but he's also checking to see that we are live on YouTube, that everything's working okay, and then we're gonna get going.
100%.
We have to just say, guys, thank you so much for all of you who have been going back, watching the previous lives, who have been going back, listening, and sharing and commenting. We really appreciate it. Definitely do subscribe, click on the bell icon, and you can know when we go live and hear other things that are in the pipeline. It has been a pleasure just thinking about how long we've been doing this. We started last year, March, and we never imagined that it would be like Tuesday night, 9 o'clock, be there, be square.
Exactly.
No matter what's going on, we will be there. Hi there, how's it going? You're right. So we're about to kick off. We're about to start talking. Lovely. Hi. We're about to kick off. We're about to start talking about our in-laws, talking about, is honesty the best policy? Can you really be real with these in-laws that you've got? Can you really tell them how it is? And I've kind of got a couple of other questions I want to hear from you guys, so please do share with us. But let us know, how close can you get with your in-laws? Like, can you be closer with your in-law? Hello. Can you be closer with your in-law than your actual spouse is close with their parent? Like, is that a problem? Or intended, yeah. Is that a problem? Is it a problem when you're too close with your siblings-in-law, so to speak, and you tell them more things than you would tell your spouse or your partner? Can you have a too close relationship? Is that even possible? We want to hear from you guys. We want to discuss it today. We want to know, what are your thoughts? Do you tell them everything, or do you hold back? Where do you stand with things? Let us know. We want to hear from you. We're just pinning some comments on YouTube and addressing some chatter, and then we're good to go. So for those of you who have joined us, it's really exciting having you here. And yeah, let's kick off, really.
Cool. So good evening, everybody. Hope you guys are well. Yeah, thank you for joining us, all of you guys on Facebook, whether you're live right now or watching the rebroadcast. Welcome. Yes. And for those of you who are joining us, obviously, for the first time, if you're wondering, who are these beautiful and handsome people in front of you, we're going to introduce ourselves. My name is Ulrich.
And I'm Siobhan.
And this is Two Love Collective.
Yes.
And on this platform, we talk about all things relationships.
Yes.
And our ethos, the very thing that is the reason why we do everything that we're doing, is encouraging you guys watching us to believe in love again.
That's right.
Because it doesn't matter like where you're at in your relationship, whether it's good or bad, there's always room for you to give love another try and believe in love again.
That's right.
And that's why all of our conversations are about. It's just to inspire us to get to that place where we are loving from the right place.
That's right.
Okay. So for those of you that have been following us, if you're new to following us, please do go to our YouTube, our Facebook channels, like, subscribe, follow, because we've got loads of content which goes back literally over a year, where we've been talking about various elements of our personal journey as a couple, and we've been tackling some really interesting,
some real hard hitting,
some really interesting topics. So feel free to go back and indulge, binge watch, leave us some comments, let us know your thoughts. Because we know that something will be of value to you guys.
Absolutely.
So for the past 9 weeks, we've been talking about the art of communication.
Come on.
Jeez, man. And last week we talked about is honesty the best policy?
Right.
And if you missed that episode, make sure you go back.
You have to watch it.
It was powerful.
It was powerful. It was on fire. There was so much going on.
It was amazing. So today, we decided that we were going to talk about, is honesty the best policy?
Yeah.
But concerning our in-laws. Now, this is for, for those of you who are married, please feel free to jump in on this because, our experiences are will be different to yours. But please feel free to jump onto the call if you want to add something or contribute something. We're totally fine with that.
Abby, you said ouch.
And,
I think we need to talk about this.
100%.
We need to talk about this. And
100%.
even if you're not married,
yes,
we want to hear what your thoughts, your experiences are with parents and so on, and that whole...
Yeah, because you might be dating someone, getting to know, you haven't done the meet the parents yet, or about to do the meet the parents, or
you've done the meet the parents.
And you're just like, Lord, jeez. Or you might be planning your wedding and you're just like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that they were like this. There's so many
and you're
things.
marrying them.
Listen.
So,
because you have to know when you're marrying somebody, you're marrying the whole family.
The whole family.
You're not just marrying the person.
Exactly. You're not just marrying those eyes. You're not just marrying those hips. You are marrying the entirety of that family. You are with them now. Moving forward at the dinner table, they will be present. Or are you a kind of person where you're like, that's you, but we're going to move 50 miles away so that we're away from them? We want to hear your thoughts.
And that crazy aunt or that crazy uncle that is super dodgy and you're just like, what are they on today? Yeah, you're marrying them too.
Absolutely, because they come into dinner and their voice matters. So let's talk about it. Okay, so to be honest, let's actually just tackle from the very get-go. Is honesty the best policy with your in-laws? So how honest, and we want to hear any times that you guys have shared anything, how honest can you be with your in-laws about things that have happened and...
Yeah.
Sorry, so I just remembered.
It's about to go down.
A moment. I just remembered a moment. Ulrich and I, we had just got married. We were in our first year, and we went over to your mum's, and we stayed the night at your mum's.
Okay.
Because I can't remember what had happened, but we spent the night there and we were talking and we hung so on and so on. And then the next day we were leaving to go home, and me being me, I just wrapped up the bed sheets to take it home to wash it to bring it back. And Ulrich's mum was like, why did you take the bed sheets? And I'm like, yeah, but we slept on them, isn't it? So, I'm just going to wash it and then bring it back. It's like if I borrowed your clothes or something, I'd wash it and bring it back. And she was like, Why
would you do that?
Why did you need to wash? Why would you need to?
And there's ones I'm just like, why did you do that?
And I was like,
that's like you go to sleep at a hotel and you say, yeah, I'm gonna take the bed sheets. I'm gonna go.
No, but
wash
that's a
them and bring them back.
hotel. That's a hotel. But you slept at someone's house, so I just. Anyway.
Culture shift. I
remember
what?
Ulrich's mum started questioning me like,
did something happen?
Yeah, I was like,
did you burn the bed sheets? Or did, yeah, guys, I don't know. That was wild. So wild.
But
It is what it is, baby. It's okay.
I had to leave that one right there.
We can move on.
I couldn't even say anything. I was just like,
yeah. But I think it's interesting because I think it's like with your in-laws, it's always a hard one. I think for me, I think throughout the dating and getting married process, I think it was always difficult to kind of, I don't even want to say connect because I know that I connected with all of your family. Do you get what I'm saying? But I guess it's like when you get married, it's like for me it was different because it was just me and my mum. Yeah. My sisters obviously live overseas, so I've kind of been on my own for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's like getting an additional 2 brothers and a sister. It was a bit weird. Do you get what I mean? And so it's like even now it's like so cool to like chill and all that kind of stuff now, but it's like it's taken a number of years to get to a point where I could even share with Siobhan like the truth. Do you get what I'm saying? Like there were moments, I can remember moments in our dating where it's like, like her younger brother would do something. I'm just like, did nobody just see what just happened? And for me, I'm ready to come in to deal with it. And I'm just like, you better just ABC yourself out of this situation. Do you know what I mean? So I think for me, I tend to tell Siobhan the truth as opposed to confronting. I think to a certain extent, I think now it's a lot better.
Now we can be
the
more
relationships
free.
are a little bit better, so I can directly just chief him up and just be like, no, you can't do that, bro. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have to be,
I get it. I mean, to be honest, and I love what you said, Abby. You let your husband deal with his side and you deal with your side. But initially, and we've had many a problem where we've fallen out, where if I raise an issue with Ulrich's family, Ulrich goes into defensive mode. Like, don't you speak one word.
Just tread carefully, man. Just tread
carefully.
What was that?
What was that?
What was that? Finish it. Finish what you're saying. Finish what you were saying.
And I've got to be like, okay, I need to say something, but how do I say it?
Choose your words carefully.
Choose the right time. Make sure he's not ratty, irritable, not distracted. And then there's a way that you say or you air your thoughts or your opinions. But exactly at the exact same time, it's natural for them to want to defend.
Of course.
Their family. It's their family. It's all they've known, and you can't be upset with them for having that desire because they are not there to defend themselves. Yeah,
definitely.
So it's like you're speaking about them,
and you know the history.
Yes.
You know the innermost parts of the whole situation. Do you understand?
Exactly.
So it's like you have to be like conscious, and I think because my family are. Because we're kind of like separate, like all over the world, basically. It's like you hold on to your history. Do you know what I mean? You hold on to your moments because you don't get to we never got to share like every day with each other. So it's like every memory, every conversation is like gold dust. So if anybody tries to come, I'd be like, no, but you need to know
the history.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Exactly.
And it's the same way, because I remember one time I wanted to switch because I was just like, I saw something happen, and I was just like, why has nobody said or done anything? And it got to me.
Yeah.
You know, and I tried to say to Siobhan, and I remember Siobhan was like, I could see it. You know, when you can see the defense, like, this is my family.
Exactly.
Armor on. Shing, what?
I go to town for them.
What did you say?
Exactly. And that's the hard thing.
Yeah.
That's the hard thing.
Definitely.
I even remember, so it was right at the early stages of our marriage. And I was trying to arrange for myself and Ulrich's mum to go and get our hair done. And I don't remember what was said, but I think what was interpreted was that I said, well, if you're not even bothered. And Ulrich's like, because I know how your mouth can be, Siobhan. Did you say that to my mum? And I was like, no. Why would I talk to your mum like that? I wouldn't talk to my mum like that. But then as we got to the bottom of where it went to and what was actually said, it was just like, okay, this is a misunderstanding. It was, if you're not bothered about what hairdresser you go to, then we can now go to the one that I know because X, Y, and Z, because you want to have this style, and you go to certain hairdressers for certain things. And so when we got to the bottom of it, it was like, okay, it's not a beef thing. But this was like, we were in second year of marriage,
early,
and at that point, it was almost like, you know, it was a deep learning point for, okay, cool, how we speak to each other's parents.
Yeah, so important.
How we communicate, because now you're like, where you've been
Jeez, I just remembered 2 instances. Yeah, go on.
Where you've been free to communicate with each other, you're fine. But you're now learning how to communicate with their in-law.
Yeah, which is a completely different type of communication.
It's a different type of
because
communication.
it's not, I wouldn't even say it's eggshells, but it's like you have to be so calculated. Do you get what I mean? You have to. I remember one time I lost it, and it was around Matthias. Do you remember when he was young? And I can't remember what I was trying to do. I was trying to get him to go to sleep or something.
At my mum.
Yeah. And it was just like, you know, Siobhan's mum, like, I think she got involved, and she was trying to say, well, you know,
should do this,
I think you should do, and I was just like, and something inside of me was
erupted.
Just boiling, and I was just like, well, no, like, you know, he's my child. And it was like, it was that tip. And it was just like, I could see myself going, and it's, you know, like when you're doing something and you can see that, or it come back.
He's going.
Come back.
And the minute it came out, it was like,
back. And it was just like, I regretted it till this day. I was just like, Ulrich, you should have
instantly
done
I was like,
better.
you need to there's a comment that needs to follow. There is it begins with an A. You need to
it was deep, man.
You need to clear up this whole situation right here, because this can't stay. And don't get me wrong, we have both been on the offending side where we've offended each other. We have both been on the offending side where we've offended our parents. We have been there, and I can hold up hands, feet. I know that there are times that we've said the wrong thing or done the wrong thing around them, and they haven't liked it.
And the other way, where the parents have said something about you, and you're just like,
been offended. Like,
been there too, guys.
Oh no, did that just happen?
It was deep. It was emotional.
Exactly. And what you're saying, Abby, is so true. Very different cultures.
Yeah.
Especially from it's very different, especially when you're from 2 different cultures.
Yeah.
My family's from the Caribbean, or its family's from Sierra Leone. Already you're going to have difference. You might say, oh yeah, but your complexion, or you're similar in certain ways. But actually there's so much difference in how we do things, and how even how you walk into the room and address someone. Like, in my culture, it would be okay if Ulrich came into the room and said, hi, Makeda. my mum's name, it would be perfectly fine.
I had an issue.
But
because at the beginning it was all trying to be all Auntie Makita, and she was just like,
don't call me auntie. You can't call me auntie. That's so anyway, like, and it's strange, but you're actually like, you're growing, you're learning how to have you're learning how to create your new normal with your
building
in-laws.
that relationship, isn't it?
Yeah. But the other side of things is the other side of things is when you actually say to each other, okay, how often or how much can you share with your parent or your family?
How much information
can you divulge?
No.
Because there needs to be a breakaway point where, you know, like where it says, for this reason a man shall be joined with his wife, and the two shall be set apart. They're no longer with their
separate.
Parents. They are joining together to become one flesh. They are actually tearing away. And I never forget, when we were buying this property, we went through a season where we had to tear away from our family, our immediate. And it wasn't in a negative, it was so that we could actually
build our own thing,
make decisions as a unit, and stick by them, and not second guess them, and not go to someone else for advice, and not be like, yeah, but my dad says.
Exactly.
Or, yeah, but my mum has said.
Or thinks.
Yes.
It's the suggestions, man. It's crazy. And I think it's all part of the relationship journey, isn't it? It's like you have to get to a point of maturing. Yeah. You know, and there's different areas of maturing as you're in your marriage, because when you come up with particular situations, it now tests your ability to leave and cleave. Yes. Do you understand?
That's it, leaving and cleaving.
And I think it's interesting. I always tell this story about Siobhan. Do you know what I mean? When we just got married, I'm sure it was the same month.
It's like second or
October.
Third month. Yeah.
And we were living in Walthamstow at the time. It was literally like a studio flat.
Small flat.
I couldn't even call it a one bed. It was ridiculous. And the water system broke down. Like it flooded, right?
It flooded, but then there was no water.
There's no water.
No water in the property.
So obviously, knowing me, I'm coming from Sierra Leone, lived there for 9 years, so I know how to collect water and put it in the kettle and run like that instinctively just shifted.
Yeah, but even that. So I'm from Sierra Leone and I know how to do this. But
yeah, because that's what I grew up in.
But
that's
there
my
was
background.
No water. I've had that background and I've grown up in East London. And yes, when there's no hot water, we boil the kettle and we have a bath like that. But
what did you shift to?
When there's no water at all, there's no water coming into the property.
But what did you shift to?
I shifted to, okay, fine, I'll go to my mum's house and I'm going to have a shower there. That was my shift.
And I was like, bye.
I can't heat up no water because there ain't no water coming out of the tap.
For this reason.
We don't know how long we're going to be in this situation.
For this reason, shall a man leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife. What does it say?
Cleave.
That means you ain't going nowhere.
No. So Ulrich turned around and said, well, I'm not leaving
my house.
You can do what you want to do, but I'm staying here. I'm not leaving my house. I'm staying here. So I was like,
listen.
Okay, so what are we going to do? Because the thing is, I needed to get to work. So I was like, well, I'll just drop by my mum's, I'll have a shower there, and I'll just make my way to work. Like, I'm thinking practical, and he's like, well, I'm not going anywhere. So that's what you're gonna do.
Buy bottles of water and make it work.
So we went to the local supermarket
and we bought some cars. What do you mean?
And we bought several 5-litre bottles.
Listen, that is the stuff that some people don't want to go through.
It's true.
They just want it to be all easy and roses.
It's true.
And and listen, we've got to learn how to graft.
It's true. Guys, we want to hear from you.
Mess.
We want to hear from you guys.
Come on, guys. Don't let us tell all our stories.
Tell us what your in-law experience has been like.
Come on.
how close are you with your in-laws? How much do you tell them?
Jeez.
How often can you really like speak to your in-laws every day, or your parents every day?
Can you tell them about the stuff going on in your relationship?
Do any of you have that kind of relationship with your parents or your in-laws that you can tell them that kind of stuff?
Because if you do,
I want to know.
We need to talk about it.
I want to know who actually has. Oh, my head is.
Come on, Abby. Come on. Girls today don't understand.
Wow, Abby, I salute you. You carried water on your head.
Listen, that's deep. You know, that's a skill. That's a skill to be able to balance it.
It is a very deep skill.
It's not for the light-hearted. I'll tell you that.
It's not.
I'll tell you that. But yeah, some of us, that's how we had to run it, man. Do you know what I mean?
And don't get me wrong, I totally am down for it. For me, at that moment in time, it was like, yeah, but practically, let's get moving so we can get to work. But the minute Ulrich put his foot down and said, no, this is right here, a principle. What's wrong with going to mum and dad's house? I would go.
Well, see you later. Goodbye.
You see that?
There's nothing wrong with mum and dad's house. But at that point, it was the principle.
It was
because it was for me, I think in all honesty, it was too quick. She arrived there too quick. Because it was just like, oh my gosh, and then it was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go to my mom's house. I was like, whilst I was dealing with the flood. So I'm like, okay, so you're going to go to your mum's house whilst I sit here and put towels down on the floor and deal with my house. Nah.
So at the end of the day, guys, we were too early into this marriage.
No, it was fresh. It was fresh.
It was like, it wasn't even 6 weeks.
We were fresh.
It was too fresh in. And the point was, the principle was, we cannot always have it as a get out of jail free card we just go to our parents.
Of course.
We need to be able to build some stamina here. This is how we start to think differently. This is how we start to change the trajectory. It's like, in the Bible where it talks about how when there was a famine in the land, they went to Egypt, but actually they couldn't now go back. They had to stick it out. They had to now learn how to stay in the situation, in the thick of it, and actually keep yourselves there. And here's the joke. So when it happened, the power of staying. But who was it? It was Isaac, or so Isaac didn't go to Egypt. Abraham went to Egypt, and Jacob went to Egypt, but Isaac didn't go to Egypt. He stayed in the land in the famine, and I'm sure he sowed in the land and it reaped 100-fold. So there's something about our staying power. There's something about when the pedal hits the road, can we stay? Can we stay and not be swayed by it?
Yeah, and not cower away. And I think not, because I don't want to say coward as in being a coward, but I think what we have to start doing is, especially in the area of relationships, I feel like we're in a generation where we're too quick to avoid calamity, hardship and struggle.
Yeah,
because true. I think because of the history of our people, we have gone through historically a lot of hardship. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And so there's almost an entitlement mentality that we have that we shouldn't be struggling, or we shouldn't go through affliction difficulty in order to get to our results. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, even when we look at when we look at a seed, do you understand? When it goes in the ground, it doesn't matter if it's a mango seed, whether it's an apple seed. That seed needs to go through that process of being broken in the soil. Do you understand what I'm saying? It doesn't matter whether its ancestors used to go through loads of hardship and there was dry land and there was no water or rain. Yeah. As soon as that seed hits the ground, it instantly understands that there is a communication that happens between the seed and the ground. Ooh. And when the ground senses that the seed is in, it starts putting the pressure.
You're preaching.
So if we're not we have to almost become accustomed to pressure and know how to handle it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel nice. Nobody likes pressure.
Nobody likes pressure.
Do you understand?
But you're not going to reach your given trajectory. You're not going to reach your ultimate place if you keep running from when it gets difficult, when it gets hard.
100%. And TD Jakes said something which is so powerful, never left me as a young Christian. And that is, you're going to be blessed outside of your comfort zone.
That's it.
That has always stayed with me, because I like my comfort zone. I don't know about you guys, but I don't like things to be hard. But I've learned over the years that your blessing is always going to be outside of your comfort zone. And you're outside of your comfort zone, it hurts sometimes. And it don't feel good.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
Sometimes you feel you are made to look like a fool.
Definitely.
For the sake of what it is that you need to go through. And trust me, there's gold at the end of it, man.
Absolutely.
There's gold at the end of it.
Absolutely.
So yes, guys, we want to hear from you. What's Arlene saying?
Arlene, whoo! Arlene, you made me chuckle, you know, as I read it. So Arlene said, it sounds like the way Siobhan said it made Ulrich think he was being abandoned at the first hurdle. You had just said for better or for worse.
Oh, come on.
Siobhan was gone at the worst part.
You understand? The first hurdle, you know? The first hurdle, now I'm just going to go underneath and just, I'm not jumping this. Nope.
So, but here's the joke.
She wasn't
It
ready.
didn't seem like it was a hurdle. It didn't seem like this was a big deal.
I know.
But even every time we come back to this point, it is a marker for us as a point of, okay, where the mindset had to shift.
Yeah.
The change had to come in to say, okay, cool, how do we see these things? And how do we now choose to deal with it? Because at the end of the day, I didn't mean to seem like I was abandoning ship. I was literally just seeing it as, here's a small problem, here's a nice way to solve it.
And it was nice.
And
but it was too nice. That niceness is too costly.
Exactly. And do you know what, guys? It was like about 2 or 3 days of using the 5 litre bottles. It wasn't a quick, nice and easy, it's over and done with. It was...
But I think if you had continued the way that you were going, it would have lasted longer.
It probably would have, but
Jesus.
I think that these are the things that change us. These are the things that make us actually go there and say, you know what, I am going to make an effort to work together, to pull together, and to choose you.
Definitely.
And that is that's a whole nother story basically, because effectively when we're talking about is honesty the best policy, you're basically saying I choose my spouse over my family who I've had for years and years as my comfort blanket, my confidant, as my voice that I would have as a sounding board, because you would go to them.
Absolutely.
They would be the people that you confide in. They would be the people you reach out to. They would be the people that you seek counsel from. And now you're actually saying, I need to pull back from you.
You literally have to leave and cleave.
Yeah.
And that process is not easy. And I think I identified that though from the beginning, because obviously I realized that Siobhan had a very strong family unit. Do you understand? Where they talk about things and they come together and they make decisions and all that kind of stuff. And I was just like, boy, I was like the Lone Ranger, innit? I was the Lone Ranger. I'm just like, yo, with me now.
You weren't a Lone Ranger, because you talk with your mum.
No, it's true. Me and my mum were tight.
You talk with your sisters.
Yeah, fully.
Ulrich would share things with his, and it's really strange. Okay, so it's like for my immediate family, we would see each other often, be around each other often, but we wouldn't talk about some of the innermost things. Yeah. Whereas Ulrich's family, because there's a distance,
we go straight in.
They go in and they say things, and there's like, you guys talk about that. Okay. it was like you have that conversation with your mum.
Yep. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's like when you don't have like brothers and sisters like physically, it's not like you can run away to your room and chat about something. Do you understand? I've only got my mum. Do you understand? So I mean, and it's not everything I spoke to her about, but
But
most things,
Yeah.
you know, because again, like your whole life is essentially in their hands. Do you know what I mean? Because they're paying the bills, they're, you know, they're cooking, they're keeping a shelter over your head, so you don't really have much of a choice. So yeah, it's deep. But I think over the years, definitely, like you have to learn like what to say, and how much to divulge. And it's hard. It was actually hard for me.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
It was extremely.
Because because obviously my mom and I, we always talked about like finances and, you know, jobs and all that stuff. And I remember I got this mad contract, right, a couple of years ago, like mad. And I was just like, and she was just like, oh, and my family are very direct. Even my aunties, they'll just be like, okay, cool. So how much do you earn?
Like,
how much you making? And I'd be like, I remember one time my aunt asked me that. Yeah, I felt something inside me was just like, you can ask me that. But do you know what I mean? And sometimes you have to keep those boundaries.
Yeah.
Because they don't need to know. Do you know what I mean? What if I was a millionaire? They'll be like, oh, you got money. Like, do you know what I mean?
Getting in your business.
You know what I'm saying? It's like telling me. But yeah, you have to be wise, man. I had to be wise, and I didn't. Thank God. Even when my mom asked me, she was just like, "Yeah, so how much do you make?" It was so hard navigating that conversation, man. I had to just smile and said, "Good money." Good money. Okay, that's all you gotta worry about. Good money, but it's yeah, it's definitely yeah, it's definitely a conversation. It's an experience thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like every family is going to be different, but you have to stick in it and live with it and grow from it, mature from it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And just keep it keep it moving, because in-laws can sometimes, you know, throw a spanner
in the works.
Do you know what I mean? They can make you angry just like your spouse can make you angry.
Yeah. Because
I remember, I remember Siobhan's dad said something to me. I was like, what? What? Cut me deep, man. I was just like, okay. I won't bring that up anymore. Just left it right there. I was like, okay then. Okay. But yeah, you gotta keep it moving.
Exactly. And then at the end of the day, it's not now... and it depends on your family dynamic and how you guys have now grown up. For if you can now take this further and say, well, you know, Dad, you upset Ulrich.
Yeah, do you even get involved?
Do you put yourself in the line of the fire, or there are
keep it moving,
exactly. There are so many different things, and I love what Arlene put here, because she said. My in-laws, including her sister-in-law, told her from the start that if there was a problem and her husband turned up at the front door of their house, that he can stay for a cup of tea, but he must find himself back back to his home with his wife. Jeez. And I think that is powerful. I don't know how many people actually have in-laws that will say, yeah, you can come in for a cup of tea, but make sure you find yourself back home with your wife. Or would they be like, is that what she did? And you know, when they lean in further, do you want some biscuit with that? Exactly. So they want to entertain that. They want to keep that conversation going, and you're just like, there is an amount that you share with your friend, with your family, and then there needs to be a sacred point where this can't be shared. This is the innermost. This is what you're trusted, because it comes down to a bit of the betrayal kind of thing. And it's once you let that trust down, once you let that person down in that area, it is difficult for them to trust that you're not going to sell them short or paint the wrong picture of them in the eyes of your family members, because at the end of the day, it will have an effect.
Yeah, definitely. Rev said, in-laws try lay laws, which leads you to break the law. Too funny.
So true. Funny.
So true. It can be very, very true. I think, you know what? Do you remember what Rachel said to us? Rachel Brown.
No.
Do you remember the story she told us, right? So a friend of ours, she said when we were early married, I don't even know if we were married yet. I think we went up to them to see them, and they gave us the talk.
The talk.
And they gave us a story about one time, when they went to her husband's
parents.
No, was it her? No, it was her parents' house, and there was like a family argument. This is a question for all the ladies or married people in the room, yeah. So she said that there was an argument at her mum's house, right, with family members. Okay, and obviously she's quite a vocal person in her family, much like Siobhan is, and it was getting quite heated, right? And then her husband said, "We're leaving." Right in the middle of the dispute, right? And hear this, she is a very vocal person, so her opinion is very important. But her husband said, "We are leaving." And she said this was the hardest thing she's ever had to do. Because now is on the table is, are you going with me?
Ooh.
Or are you going with your family? And he didn't do it in a malicious way, like to test her loyalty or anything like that. No. He could just sense that this is not productive.
It's gonna get out of hand.
And so he's like, "We're out of here."
Yeah.
And listen, she was like, when she was telling the story, she was just like, "Lord Jesus." And then she's like, but she got to the realization quickly. Yeah. I have got to follow my husband.
Yeah.
So what would you do?
What would you do?
Beef is kicking off in your parents' house.
It's about to go down.
And your husband says, "Babe, we're out.
Let's go."
Let's go. What will you do? Will you follow your husband?
Would you follow?
What would you do, Siobhan? I don't think you could do it. I don't even think I can ask that question.
That's what I was saying. Like, boy, beef is really kicking off. Kicking off. And you said, "Siobhan,
let's go. Leaving. See you later. Get my advice. I'm getting the boys out. Peace." Because I almost did it.
I feel like I'll catch you up.
I almost did it one time though.
When
there was a whole load of like,
Oh yeah. But that was slightly different. That was a different environment. Leave, but seriously ask why in the car. Why? No, I get it, Abby. I get it.
But wouldn't the why be obvious?
The why would be obvious, but it's just like, because your voice is so prevalent in that situation.
But it's the leaving and cleaving.
Yes,
because they're still relying on you. But no.
To be the peacemaker. Yeah, but it's slightly different.
No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking.
Do you know what? I don't know.
I understand.
Honestly, that is such an impossible situation.
It's hard.
It's really, really difficult. And I wouldn't even pretend that I would know how I would respond in it. But at the end of the day,
just be prepared though. Just be prepared.
I will be.
In case I say, "Babe, it's time to go."
And then I'll be like, "Okay."
No, you won't though.
No, but that's the point. I think at the end of the day, you can get down to the bottom of things and say it would be difficult to do it, but you'd make that decision.
Yeah.
And the reason why you'd make that decision, because ultimately you can see, and so for Ulrich and I, we've been on the other side of this, where there has been a big argument, not necessarily at my parents' house, but a big argument that ensued, and it just got way out of hand. Now, we should have, if I don't know what would have happened anyway, but the way that it went so left, I never foresaw that it would have gone as left as it did.
And you know those ones where it gets so dark and you're just like, nah man, we have to continue to be the light. Yeah. Because if we leave, there's it's almost like there's no filter, there's no covering.
There's no
everything's lifted and everyone will do what they see in their own eyes.
In their own eyes. So yeah, I mean, don't get like, that's exactly where I see it going.
Yeah.
But we've been in that situation where maybe we should have left.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have left then and been away from it all.
Yeah. I think we should have.
But we will never know. We will never know. But what I will say is, coming back to what you asked the question, if we had been in that situation and you had said, right, Siobhan, we're going, I would have got up. I would have had to have gone. And that's one of the hardest decisions. But I know that for you to make that decision, the first thing you're thinking is, 1, I need to protect my wife. 2, I need to protect my children if they're there. 3, I need to protect us. And that's like, the question is, it always boils down to it. Are you choosing your husband, your spouse, your wife, your family as a protective measure? Or are you cowering behind
the opinions of what other people
the
say?
opinions, because that's what it comes down to. It's the opinion. Okay, let's hear what you guys are saying. Absolutely, you have to leave. I would be thinking about the witness of seeing spouse in conflict, children present, then discuss it later, away from the crowd. Absolutely. Zanel said, we'll leave and obviously tell hubby that he set the precedent, will do the same with his family. Oh, that is a very good one. That is a very good one.
Yep.
And I think that that's also it, because it's your family, you can kind of feel like you're super connected to it, so it's affecting you more. But actually, either side, if this was happening with Ulrich's family and he said, Siobhan, we're going, we would have to do that. And it only takes the wisdom to actually walk away
100%,
rather than getting deeper in, because sometimes in those situations, especially with conflict with family,
it's not your battle.
Things can be said that can't be undone. When you're in your marriage, you can forgive one another and pass through and keep it moving. But when things are said amongst family members, that's when you get fractures in relationships. And it is much harder to rekindle that, because you're not in the bed with them. You're not recommunicating with them. You're not
living with them 24/7.
Exactly. And they will literally hold up how you made them feel in that situation, what was said. So there's a whole lot. There's a whole lot.
Indeed.
There's a whole lot.
So I think the only thing I would say now, right, in terms of like honesty, is, you know, how, if you see something like wrong, like if your mum or your dad is just, you know, like, just imagine, you know, they got something in their teeth, or, you know, their hair's like all over the place, or the collar is not fixed properly, like how
honest can you be?
How honest can you be? And I guess this all depends obviously on the relationship, of course.
It does.
I understand, but would you, like, for example, for me, I mean, this is what I do anyway. Like, any girl that I see that is just doing something that's just shocking, I'll say it to Siobhan. I'll say, go talk to your homegirl. Do you know what I mean? So I think for me, again, when it comes to that kind of stuff,
Yeah, but I think, like,
still, it's like what somebody said before, you deal with your own family.
You deal with your family, I'll deal with my family. I kind of feel like when it comes to being completely honest with smaller things like that, like, oh, you've got something in your teeth, or do you want me to help you with your hair, things like that, I don't really have those kind of problems with saying something with that. I think that honesty is the best policy with regards to, or is honesty the best policy? Like, being honest with a family member that's not your own. I don't know, like, if it comes down to something emotional, I don't know if I would say anything there.
So when you say emotional, what do you mean?
Okay, so
we need examples for the people.
Okay, so there was a comment that was made to me about how I physically look, and I didn't really like it, and it made me feel really self-conscious. I can't turn around to the person and say, well, I didn't ask you. So why are you telling me how you feel about something that I look like? It's nice of you to volunteer this information, but you know, you can keep that to yourself. Now, I didn't I didn't have the confidence to say that to the person, and I wouldn't turn around and say that to the person. But at the end of the day, I didn't like how it made me feel. What can I do now? Tell Ulrich this person said this and it hurt my feelings.
Whoa, 100%.
And then what do? Tell the person, don't say those kind of things to Siobhan. She doesn't like them.
Well, it depends who it is first and foremost. So it's like, do you know what I mean?
At the end of the day, we all know that. So for me as a person,
because I know that if the shoe's on the other foot, and you know me, Siobhan, if someone offends me in your family, whether it's cousin, auntie, whoever, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I know.
So that you are aware of how I feel and how I want to do something.
And here's the joke. What would I turn around and do? Hey, Jen. I would turn around and say, I'm so sorry on their behalf.
Exactly. Nah, they shouldn't have said that.
They shouldn't have said that. I agree with you, baby. That's so wrong.
That's so rude, man. Next time when I go past them, I'll just give them a nudge.
No. But here's the joke. Would I turn around and dress down my mum or my dad or my auntie and so on and so on? It depends on how serious what it is that has been said. But
yeah, of course. 100%.
I don't know
100%.
that I would be so honest with them as to say...
And we've been there.
We have.
Do you know what I mean? Where the offence has been very... it's very offensive. And you've gone back and said...
And I've said, listen, what you said here offended. But that is because the offence was at its height. Where it's going to be something I know you're going to be able to get over, is like, guys, let's just keep it moving because I haven't got time.
It's true.
But that's me. Maybe I'm the coward away from the...
You're making me remember things, Siobhan. Stop.
Okay, well, let's see.
In any social setting, being prepared helps. Hubby and I used to have a code word that we would say when one of us wanted to leave. Wow. Intruder alert, intruder alert, intruder alert.
We would leave no questions asked and then we talk later. Wow. That's
deep.
amazing. But you know, like, to even think that you guys have to have your code word now already tells us the kind of place that, the kind of situation that you guys were dealing with. So you already knew. Do you know what? Things could get hostile. It could get a bit toxic. So let us now be best prepared. And let's be real. The reality is not every social setting or not every family setting is going to be one where you're going to enjoy it or it's going to be happy and hunky-dory. Sometimes we might find ourselves in positions where we now need to cover ourselves and be like, peace. we're dipping out, we're stepping out.
100%.
And we are 120% with each other on this to be able to say, yeah, you say your code word.
It's that time.
It's that time.
Jeez.
But wow, that's deep.
That's powerful. Might adopt that.
Yeah.
Swirl. Maybe it's time to swirl. Did you hear me? Swirl.
I heard you.
Too funny. We had one of my husband's relatives stay with us for over 9 months.
Ooh.
A few years back, and I had to tell my hubby that he should tell them it's time to.
Now that is hard.
That is very hard.
That is
I mean,
hard.
we've kind of been in a position like that.
But not the same.
Not the same.
Because
Not
9
relative.
months is a long time.
That's a long time.
It's a long time. And also, it's like...
wow.
You don't want to be offended. Like, there's a lot that can happen in that time. There's...
Whew, that's just long, guys. That's long. That's a whole baby, man.
Abby.
That's a whole
God bless
baby.
you and your husband.
I know,
and I
man.
think that
Powerful.
like it is difficult to have those conversations with family.
Yeah, it is.
But at the same time,
it's got to be done because it's like when it's now disrupting, you know, your own family dynamic and balance. Then there needs to be you know a conversation about you know some other arrangements because that's hard. That's really hard. But yeah, man, it's it's important. It's really important.
Definitely, and love that you were able to have that conversation because some people they would just feel like, what? How can I even say anything?
Yeah, how can I say no? They don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah,
it's like, But you know what? At the same time, that I would ask Siobhan to tell me that if that ever happened. I mean, she wouldn't have an issue with that anyway, because she knows like the type of home life that we're trying to create. So if it's disrupted, fam, talk about it, because at the end of the day, sometimes what happens is people get complacent and they get comfortable, and they only get comfortable because you allow them to be comfortable. And I know it's hard because obviously we're talking about family and we don't know where things are going to be at
and stuff like that.
But it's important to have those conversations,
Yeah.
even if it's not nice, and even if your spouse isn't going to like it.
Yeah. And I remember there have been times where Ulrich and I had to talk about situations that had taken place with family and in-laws and so on and so on. And you have to try your best in all of those situations to remember to discuss the small thing and the big thing. Because what we found is some of the things that were like, you know what, just sweep it under the carpet, don't even address it. It's a small thing that took place. It was just something between the kids or something like that. And then what happened is, because it wasn't dealt with adequately, or because it wasn't brought up, and then if something else now came up later that now trickled in and raised something else, it was like, well, why am I just hearing about this now?
Exactly. Because
when did this happen? Because it played a part and played a part and played a part, and then before you know it, it's some big thing walking with legs, and it was just like, how did we get here? Why is it so magnified?
Yeah.
It was hard, but the truth always prevails. It's good. It's good. Manfred saying it's powerful conversation. That's good. So Arlene has said, families are really complex. I remember TD Jake saying that when you marry someone, you marry their whole family. If you love your spouse, you have to love where they came from.
Yeah.
Now that is so powerful,
man.
because it's actually accepting where they came. They are a product of that environment.
You're accepting all of them.
Yes.
Their baggage too.
Yeah.
Because we mentioned that at the beginning of the live, and it's just like, you carry all of your family's baggage. All of it comes with you. All of it. You know, and sometimes you almost have to deal with it too, because you almost become, you know, a different perspective. Do you understand? Which they are not used to, because they've always dealt with things in a particular way.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
But it's knowing when to get involved and when not to. Boy,
it's hard.
That's another conversation.
So I'm gonna read what Zanelle said. So she said, I'm always scared to tell his family member to leave, and always stays with adults because our house is big and can't even walk with short pants because of these adults around. Now I get you. Because at the end of the day, when you are the kind of person where you want to be free in your own home, and you can't be, for a short amount of time, it's not too bad. You can say to yourself, I can see the destination in sight. But when it gets to be long, extended stays, it inflicts in how you, and it infringes on how you express, how you want to be. You want to be free. You want to put on a pair of shorts. You want to be naked. Let's just call it as it is. You're talking about shorts. You want to be naked in your own house. Yeah, but even if you're not naked, at the end of the day, you want to be at your comfortable spot. And there's nothing worse than when you're in your comfortable spot and you can't be comfortable because you're now thinking about other people who are looking around and so on and so on. Yeah. It does have an impact. It does. No, definitely. 100%. I agree. Yeah, and honestly, I think we have to find ways to have our honest conversations with our spouse. We have to find ways to speak to our family members and say to them, whatever you gotta say it. I'm not trying to say I'm the best at these conversations. I'll hold my hands up. I probably am not. Yeah, families come with baggage. Some of us got those big suitcases that are held together with brown tape. Bits all falling out and broken clasp. I hear that. I hear that. And I think the minute you identify what you've come from, you already know how to start having conversations about safeguarding. Definitely. I never forget. There's a man of God on the live right now. And when he and his wife had their first child, and they were talking about whether they would let their child sleep over at other people's houses. Yeah. And this was way before Ulrich and I had even got married. He turned around and said, nah, no child of mine is staying outside of my house. They only sleep under my roof. And I was like, this is fascinating. I've grown up always sleeping over at family members' houses as a norm. But hearing what he was saying, it was like,
I get it.
I never thought of that. Maybe I need to think about that. But what it showed me is that no matter how close your family may be, there are certain levels of protection that you need to put in place, because you know the baggage and the places where your people have come from, or whatever it is. So these safeguarding measures that we have, they may seem like they are over the top for others, but for some people they are absolutely necessary, because you know what Arlena said, you know the baggage and the suitcases that have come with them.
Definitely.
So like, I never forget, Ulrich shared a story about when he was growing up. He spent a summer in the States, and he stayed, and he was struggling. He came back with a really bad cough. And so he always shares this story about how he feels about a certain thing and why it made him cough, and so on and so on. And so I, as a result of it, I'm so conscious of it when Ulrich comes around, members of my family. And
jeez,
I even remember when Matthias was first born, and it was like a stipulation. This needs to change, because then we're going to have a problem. And I was a bit like,
listen, you can't be smoking around my child.
And I was just like,
you can't do it.
I've grown up seeing like
can't do it.
Several members smoking in the house with children around, and so on and so on. And it was just like, I've grown up where we spend time with grandparents, aunties, uncles on a weekly basis, seeing them 3 or 4 times a week. And I never forget when we first got married, or it was like, so is this what you think we're going to continue? Do you think we're going to continue seeing your family members 3 or 4 times in the month, and like on an every weekly basis? Is that what you want?
Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen.
We very, very quickly had to start having these conversations.
It's important, because at the end of the day, we are building our own foundations. Do you know what I mean? And one of the major things that we prayed about when we were dating was that we have to build our own foundation. Do you know what I mean? A foundation based on the word, based on God's principles, and something that was going to stand strong. Do you know what I mean? Not negating obviously what our own parents have built. Do you understand? But building something that we believe in, that's ours, that we own. You know? So it was definitely hard, because I know that was the culture of the way that she wanted, that she had done things prior, and how they do things, and they still do. But they know, if my kids are around, I don't want you smoking. Go outside. Do you understand? Same thing with swearing and all that kind of stuff. It's like, come on. Do you know what I mean? So, and we haven't really had many problems.
No, we haven't. But I think that it's because we've been able to set it as a precedent at the beginning, like what you're saying about getting up and leaving. It's a precedent. It's the kind of things that we're saying, these are what we're expecting. And we would like it to be adhered to. And that's all you can communicate, basically.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and there's some things that, they adhere to, and other things that they don't. You know, it's been
family for you.
It's been an ongoing thing that when our boys go down to Siobhan's mum's house, that they don't go to sleep at a particular time.
There's no bedtime. They have family time,
and it happens. And at the beginning, I used to get vexed, because I was just like, mate, because thank you for taking them, but you give them back to us, and they're just like they're cranky as ever. But it's really funny, even that after like how many years, 5 years, that, you know, we still ask that question, you know, what time do they go to bed? And
now we don't get answers. Now we don't get numbers. We just get, it wasn't that late.
It wasn't that late.
There's no beef. If you don't know what time it was, it's just, it wasn't that late.
So
it was fairly early.
Yeah, but these things you build over time, man.
Yeah.
You build over time. But yeah, it's powerful. But yeah, anyway, guys, we've gone over our hour. What's it called? Things like, okay, I don't allow my husband to speak to someone of my family members unless I'm there to protect him. To protect him, you know?
Yeah.
That's
but
deep.
The thing is, now, Abby, reading that, if you don't understand the cultures and you don't understand what can be done, you would think, why do you need to protect him? Like, let him be free. But at the same time, it's actually a safeguarding measure. It's a safety precaution.
Yes.
Because you don't want it to ever be that a falling out takes place and now things are unrepairable. It's just not worth it. Life's too short. So if it means that we need to, you know, like, be around, monitor conversation and see, because some things are just done as a pushing of a button, like, you know, just to see, let's see what will wind him up, let's see what will upset people.
Definitely.
And you know where that can easily go.
Definitely.
So Arlene has said things like smoking and swearing etc in front of kids is not even a debate for me. My child's well-being is a priority, and whoever wants to get vexed can. And I love what you said there, Arlene. And I think that when, like, people are coming into themselves and coming into age, you know, where you have been the child and now you come of age to be at the grown-ups table, it's kind of like now you have a voice. How do you now speak to those who have been over you to say,
you can't smoke around my kids,
or don't say that, or don't play that song, don't do those things,
especially when they're like trying to chill out and relax and just let their hair down. It's like they have to almost be guarded. That makes sense, which is hard. I get it.
It's really difficult.
I get it.
It's really difficult, but I mean, like, you will always have those kind of conflicts or those kind of situations that you'll have to work through with in-laws. I never forget, my brother had Matthias and Cyrus. He was at my mum's and he was playing with Cyrus and Matthias, and he decided to put on some Michael Jackson songs, and I was like,
tell the people. Siobhan don't want our son to be listening to Michael Jackson. I said, listen, right? You cannot tell me that my sons are gonna be musicians and they don't know one of the greatest artists of all time. Cannot whether he died with black skin.
Listen, that's not even it. The skin of him is not even the issue. There's a whole heap of spiritual stuff there that I am just not even about to even be letting my kids be dancing to Thriller and all of them kind of stuff.
So what about?
I'm just so.
But that's the stuff. That's the stuff that's obvious. What about the stuff that's hidden?
Yeah, there's stuff that's hidden, but for the things that's hidden, you don't know. But for the ones you blatantly know, that he's dealing with Aleister Crowley, who's about 6'6", and he's got all of that up in his music and this different thing here. Already you're saying to me now you want my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old or my 2-year-old, my 1-year-old to be like, I'm bad. No, you're not bad. You're good. I'm teaching you to speak life and you're there professing I'm bad. No, sir. So anyway, my brother has this weekend with them and he plays these songs. 6-7 weeks later, Matthias decides to doom, doom, doom. I'm like, where you know that song from? He said, oh, Uncle was playing it. La da 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 da. He goes into the whole thing and he said, yeah, and then we watched that scary one, you know, with the eyes and it turns and he's wearing that red jacket and he starts. I'm just like, oh, really? I phoned my brother. What is this? He said, oh, I thought I got away. I didn't realise. I said, right. Now, okay, I didn't communicate early to my brother. Don't play him, no Michael Jackson. But at the end of the day, when my brother saw that the boys had no knowledge of this artist, and my brother's like, you don't know this song? Oh no, you need to know this song then. Beat It. All these different songs start coming out, and I'm just like, so when you realised they didn't know these songs, what was you thinking? Oh, it's my job to educate them. No, not at all.
Hilarious, man.
Not at all.
Hilarious.
But anyway, we digress. But the point of it is,
yes,
the safeguarding measures, the things that you're putting in place, it comes down to communication.
Yeah.
And are you now strong enough? Are you now willing to be honest? Are you willing to actually take it up with family members, with friends, with close relatives, whether they are yours or your in-laws, to actually say to them,
no, don't cross this line.
yeah, I don't like that. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to give them bacon.
Jeez.
Or any of those kind of things. Actually, like, being completely honest and expressing what you want. But yeah, those are the kind of things that I think are always tricky because...
Very tricky. Very, very tricky. But guys, thank you so much for connecting with us this evening. We hope that it's been useful in some ways. For those of you who are still on your journey to marriage, I hope that this definitely helps because it's so important to get these dynamics correct and to know that and a conversation for you to have in your dating and courting relationships. Absolutely. Because man, these are things that are 100% going to come up. Yeah. And it's better to be prepared than to have to deal with them when you're in it. Yeah. Because technically it's too late.
It's just harder. Yeah, it's even harder.
Yeah, very hard. Very, very hard. So don't ignore your in-laws, please.
Oh, Lord, no.
Don't think, well, I just want to marry you and I just want you. No, you're marrying the whole family.
Appreciate your in-laws.
All of them, that's the good. Crazy ones, as well as, the ones that are in prison, the ones that are, acting the fool, the good ones that are doing amazing and are millionaires and they live in their penthouses. You're marrying all of them. Yeah. So be nice. You are. Be nice, guys. Be nice. But yeah, thank you again for joining us, guys. You could have been watching Netflix, could have been watching Prime, could have been watching Disney, but you decided to be with us. And we appreciate you. We're going to be back next week, 9 p.m. BST. So make sure you lock in because we're going to have another topic to discuss. All right, guys? Have a blessed evening, everybody.
Yes, you are a very good wife.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
All right, take care. Bye.
See ya.